43 years.
How many was Bobby Cox?
160 something.
Bobby had him by 100, so.
I just put on a little better show than he did. You know what people don't realize about baseball, okay? It's a sport. It's a business. It's also entertainment.
Yeah.
And you got to entertain the fans. Now, would you rather see a manager kicking a little dirt, or would you rather see 3 umpires huddle in the box with a making a replay?
Lou, now the argument is this.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, for Lou Piniella, where's the weirdest fan experience?
The what, sir?
Where's the weirdest fan experience?
Weirdest fan experience.
Weirdest fan experience? Boy, that's a good question. I've never even thought of that. In Boston, they used to boo the heck out of us when I went there as a Yankee player. Teams didn't like each other too much, the Yankees and the Red Sox. And in Fenway, they were very, very loud. But really, the baseball fans are good all over the place. They really are. I mean, let them come out to the ballpark and yell and cheer and boo, whatever they want. And when you have a name like Lou, they can boo you. Or
Thank you. Yes, sir.
P. Rose just filed for reinstatement with the Commissioners League. This is for everybody. What's your thoughts on that, especially on the Astros steal side and all that?
Well, each one's, separate. So you've got PEDs in one box, and you got what the Astros unfortunately happened is that, and then Pete falls in a different box. For me personally, I think, I think they're going to let him get into the Hall of Fame. I think it's almost like that's what MLB is destined to do, so he will be in the Hall of Fame probably after he dies. But I think he should be in there before. That's my personal opinion.
Same thing. I agree. Gambling aside, I mean, it's a major league hits leader. Nobody's going to challenge that again.
4,200 hits.
Too much turnover.
Yeah.
Guys they won't play long enough.
4,200 hits. That's unbelievable.
It really is.
My Lord, 4,200 hits.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to play that tonight in the Big Four. Tied into Lou a little bit. I mean, not the Pete.
This gentleman here.
1, 2, 3, your most exciting moment in majors.
Besides being called up for the first game, I had a walk-off when I was with Pittsburgh against St. Louis. Get an extra inning walk-off.
Wow.
And me, it's playing in the World Series games in the 70s with the Yankees and wearing a championship ring with a lot of pride. That's the most exciting thing for me.
I was 8 years old, and Tammy had me Little League. No, my first home run, and it went through the center fielder's legs, and I kept playing. My dad's like, go to third, and I stopped. Go home, and I'll never forget that. I swear, you're gonna be 90 on the 25th of this month, so I'll never forget that. And then this guy was my first manager. We called him for a little while in New York, and I'll never forget. Lou was a young manager. Maybe it might have been your first year. And Dan Pass was on second base. I come up and I get a base hit up the middle of Yankee Stadium. This is huge. You gotta understand, Cuban, Yankees were everything to us. And Mike Ferraro was the third base coach.
Oh my gosh.
And he's waving Danny Pasqua, who was also just called up with me, a young, 23, 24, like what we were. And for some reason, Danny was nervous and he stopped. He went around third, he stopped, and he went back. And I'm just rounding first. I'm just happy. That was my third hit in the major leagues and my first hit at Yankee Stadium. My other hits were on the road. I come back to the dugout. Lou goes, Pasqua, get over here. He takes him into the tunnel and he goes, son, what are you doing? The coach, he's yelling at him, and Pasqua's like this, and he goes, that would have been Destrade's first RBI in the major leagues. What did he win? Danny comes and we were like this. He comes sitting next to me and he's like, man, I go, dude, don't worry about it. I gotta hit a Yankee Stadium. Don't even worry about it. And it was like, I'll never forget that. You didn't know that.
Danny could hit. He could hit too, both of them. They used to hit those balls in the upper deck in Yankee Stadium. Nice, really nice.
They were just a little too stacked for us. I got a guy named Winfield in left and a guy named Manley in first. So me and Danny, we're going to play a whole lot.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, Lou, if you could maybe tell us a Billy Martin story.
Well, Billy, you know the pitch counts today? You throw 95 pitches, they take you out of the ballgame, right? Well, when Ron Guidry was pitching for us in New York in the 70s, about the 7th inning, Billy called the pitching coach, Art Fowler, and he'd say, all right, how many pitches Guidry got? He says, 115, Billy. He says, good, take 20, start him off with 95 pitches. Take 20 off and start him off with 95 the next inning.
And tell him that.
Yeah, that's the truth.
My wife and I are from southeast Iowa, near a great little minor league team, the Burlington Bees. We learned recently our team and a lot of others might be on a Major League Baseball downsizing list because we're a small market. Is that good or bad for baseball?
I think it's terrible. I think the minor leagues are the lifeblood of Major League Baseball. I think the kids learn to play there and they work their way through the system. They learn some discipline, they learn some good coaching, and they learn how to play at the big league level. So I think it's terrible that Major League Baseball is doing that. It's got to be, why? Do they want to get these people in their camps so that they teach them the sabermetrics and so forth? Is that it?
I think, and you were saying it earlier when just the three of us talking about, Lou was noticing that enough money is not even spent on that lower level. Like minor league coaches aren't paid enough. And you've got players and major league coaches at $5–10 million, and they're paying these guys $40,000 for the summer, where I think the discrepancy is pretty massive, and then someone, they're cutting the fat somewhere a little that we don't. Because if any sport there is, we're biased, all of us in here. Baseball is like ingrained in the fiber of America, and mainly because of the grassroots of boy and girl in small town America to big town America. So don't ruin that.
It really hurts rural America.
It really does. They can't get to, from Iowa, what's the closest place? St. Louis?
Chicago and St. Louis.
Chicago, yeah. It's a long trip and it's expensive. And it's very affordable to go to a minor league game. These kids are playing their hearts out, hustling 100% every day just to get a chance to play in the big league. So it's a big lose for Major League Baseball.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Lou, for obvious reasons, man, you're always one of my favorite players. A Tampa guy, you played on my favorite team, the Yankees. You played with my absolute hero, Thurman Munson.
Thurman was a wonderful guy.
The two plays I remember the most. I remember a play you made in the World Series in 76 and 77. You went up over the wall just about and got one. I was like, look at you jump like that.
Yeah.
And then the other one, you're playing the Red Sox. You're coming down the third base line. And you're sliding the fifth. And you
No, I didn't slide into him. I barreled into him.
You're trying to be nice.
Big difference.
And everything hit the fan. And I remember Thurman coming out of that dugout like a blowfly was on that pile of
Thurman and
cement.
Fish didn't get along very well.
No.
They didn't like each other at all. They really did.
That was a beautiful brawl, though. I got to tell you, one of the best baseball brawls I ever saw. I watched it on TV.
Did you see Mickey Rivers?
Yes.
He went around that pile hitting everybody. He didn't care whether he had a Yankee hat on or Red Sox.
I thought he was trying to get a card game going, you know? Anyway, beautiful time. It was a beautiful time.
Yeah.
Questions? Who else? Yes, sir.
Lou, tell us about playing for Earl Weaver down there.
Earl Weaver and Elmira. Earl was a heck of a manager, Hall of Fame manager. So I don't need to say much. I remember he called me into his office one day and he said, young man, he says, you're never going to play in the big leagues. This was double A, my third year in minor league ball. And I said, well, why not, Earl? He says, well, you've got the ability, he says, but you're too much of a red ass. And I said, Earl, you're a heck of an example. No more.
Oh, boy. You're in trouble.
Heck of an example. The night before, there was a close play at third base. And the Elmira runner was called out. Earl went out there to argue with the umpire. He was out there for about 10 minutes. Finally, they wanted to get him off the field. He took third base and he climbed the pole.
Oh, no.
Right on top of the flagpole. And then the fireman came down and hosed him off the pole.
Are you serious?
Oh, no.
Yeah. He took the base with him.
Oh, we had iPhones back then, dude.
Who else? Other questions?
Well, about the base, Lou, as opposed to, like, you gave him back the base.
That was There you go. Hey, listen, I'm embarrassed by some of the things I did.
Yeah.
I'm not really that type of person. I had a lot of passion on
The hat.
when they show my junk on TV, ESPN, I turned that damn TV off immediately. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, but look at what we learned about this.
I know. Look, I'm going to tell you the truth. What I said about entertainment, sports, and so forth. When I first started managing the Yankees, Steinbrenner called me in his office, and he said, "Son," he said, "baseball is a sport. It's a business, but it's also entertainment. I want the back page of the Daily News and the New York Post," he says, "so when you get your ass kicked out of a ball game," he says, "put on a good show."
So he did. So he did.
I want to ask Sue just that, I mean, because he had a lot of impact in this community about George and the boss. And
Oh, what a great man.
Yeah.
He did a lot of wonderful, wonderful things, not only in New York and the Bronx, but right here in New York, in Tampa. He adopted the city as his home base. And, you know, this guy, he was hard to work for, very demanding. I remember this one time when I was managing for him, he loved the second guess. He loved the second
Was there a phone? Was there a phone in the thing? Did he call you in the game?
He called me one time in the third inning of a game in Anaheim.
What?
Yeah, we're playing the Angels, and Nick Priori, the clubhouse man, comes over with this phone, and people are pulling wire. And he said, "You got to take this phone call." I said, "Who's it from?" He said, "Steinbrenner." I said, "It's a major league game, the fourth inning."
Come on.
I pick up the phone. He says, "I'm sitting here in front of my big screen TV in Ocala, Florida." And he was listening to Phil Rizzuto, the scooter on TV. He said, "Look, Sutton, on the mound." The guy, he's pitching for the Angels. He says, "He's got Vaseline on his forehead. He's got a razor blade in his belt buckle, and you're sitting there like a dummy doing this." He says, "Who's paying your salary? Me or the cowboy?" So I said, "What's the score of the ball game?" He says, 4-2. I said, "Who's winning?"
Yankees.
I said, "Yankees." And I said, "Who's pitching for us?" He says, "What's that got to do with it?" I said, "Who's pitching for us?" He says, "Tommy John." I said, "Well, who in the hell you think Tommy John?"
Tommy by then was cheating his ass off.
You know what? At that time, people used to scuff it. Now, you know these pitchers today, Jason, if the ball is fouled off, or it's in the dirt, they want a different ball. Whitey Ford used to tell Yogi all the time, when you throw the ball back to me, make sure you scuff it really good. Throw it back on the play, yeah. And now they throw the balls away. I can't believe it.
And I'll add to that because there's a lot of controversy. There's a great, like, chess game of baseball, I feel, Lou and Jason would agree, and a gentleman's kind of thing of like, you know, you could tip and you could figure things out. If you can add a little, I never got ticked off at a guy if he tried to do a little shenanigans. There's another level that these guys took it to. That no longer is it kind of crafty. Like the Whitey Ford thing would be crafty. My guessing, because I'm at the plate and I see a shortstop take 2 steps to the left.
Right.
And I'm hitting right, I'm a pitch hitter. I go, okay, they're coming in on me because he moves too early.
No question.
That's crafty, right? But you get a beeper on you, and those guys took it to another level in using technology. That's a no-no. So hopefully they've taken care of that. We don't have to talk about it too much, but it will be talked a lot about. But those kind of stories, you know, I used to love Caleb Perry because he used to do all this stuff, and he was doing nothing, but by then he already had you kind of like deep. That's entertainment.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I played with Gabe in New York at the end of his career, and he'd go for about 15 minutes going through all his and then he'd go out and throw 3 pitches warming up, and the last one was a puff ball. He used to put rosin all over the ball. He'd throw it and the ball would go puff. Yeah, he was an entertainer, he really was.
Here we go. Señorita.
Do you think that there's more that MLB can do to increase the interest of baseball among kids?
Jason, you're in coaching, little guys.
I mean, I think they're doing a good job, to be honest with you. I don't know anything specifically, but other than that, I mean, I got a lot of kids that come in. I do training here in the area, baseball or hitting and fielding training with the kids, and you know, a lot of them are just there. They're glued to the Rays. Everybody's a Rays fan or a Yankees fan, you know, coming in. But I really do. I think the community, I think the Rays do a good job as well. Can they do more? Yes. I absolutely agree. Doing more.
Let me just ask one question from Oreste. Oreste is unique in that he is one of the players that also played a portion of his career in Japan. In fact, Oreste is fluent in Japanese.
Pretty much.
And so, tell us. Yes, the Monogatari. Tell us, if you would, a little bit. Now we have more with the Rays. We've had more Asian players than we've ever had. Tell us your thoughts briefly about Japanese baseball.
Well, and they just had actually a passing of a legendary manager, former great catcher, Coach Nomura, who I played against as a rival manager, so to speak, when I was a player over there. He just passed away yesterday, but so that's kind of their mourning that. He's right up there with Sararo, and beyond that is Nagashima. Those are like probably the trio of greats. But Japan, and by the way, it's pertinent because we have a guy that you're going to love here, Rays fans. His name is Yoshitomo Tsusugo. Everybody can call him Yoshi, but Yoshitomo's sensational. And 6'2", I was with him the other day, about 215, built like Hideki Matsui.
He had to be on steroids.
Yeah, he had to be. No, it's a special sashimi that they make over there. That they do with I don't know, maybe it might have been from the Fukushima type of plant or something. I'm not sure. The tuna over there might be a little troublesome. But this kid's 6'2".
He's a thick kid, yeah.
Thick, reminds me, and his swing is almost identical. And it's funny because he's a righty thrower like he was, and a lefty hitter like Hideki Matsui. So to me, I think he's going to be a Hideki Matsui. But the Japanese culture I love. I fell in love with it. Yeah. I think they're wonderful.
How would you compare him to the Japanese kid that they haven't with the Yankees, that pitched and played?
As good a thumper, as good a hitter as Shohei Ohtani, and Shohei Ohtani's a damn good hitter. He hit the cycle at the Trop last year against us. And, you know, obviously he's not a pitcher. Shohei's at another level. Shohei can throw 100 and can hit. I haven't seen that ever.
Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my Japanese experience.
Okay.
I had some good Japanese
Well, you had one
exceptional. Ichiro, but let me tell you what. I used to communicate with Ichiro in Spanish.
Yes, he speaks great Spanish.
No question. I used to communicate with him in Spanish, and I said, well, how come you? He said, for the Japanese kids, these kids from the Dominican Republic, from Cuba, from Venezuela, they go over there, and it's easier for the Japanese to learn the Spanish language than it is to learn the English language. So I used to speak Spanish with Ichiro.
Well, that's how I learned Japanese. Japanese phonetically, believe it or not, is easier. It's more similar to Spanish than it is to English. In fact, Japanese is totally, and Mandarin, Vietnamese, Chinese, completely different than Japanese. You know, Mandarin is ni hao ma and all this little sing-songy kind. Japanese is very A-I-O-U, arigato, domo, and it's very similar to Spanish. So when I got there, I learned via, you know, so I learned it. And it's interesting because around my time when I went to Japan, they started figuring out, instead of bringing Bob Horner and Bill Matlock and paying all this money to these guys on their downside, Roy White, and paying them $1 million to finish their career and be half-assed, we need to bring in these young Latinos. And that was one of those experiments. And from then on, they found, not only were they hungry, but they assimilated the language quicker. So you see a lot of Hispanics playing in Japan, and then they messed with the Japanese guys, and they learned Spanish. But Ichiro knows perfect English too. He tricks everybody. He's smart as all caca, man. I've never seen, and I'm gonna tell him a story because I was already retired when Ichiro came, and I played against him before I retired in Japan. And so people came to me and they're like, "What do you think Ichiro's gonna do?" I go, "I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna tell you what he's gonna do. He's gonna be, don't doubt, Rookie of the Year. And watch out, he ends up being Rookie of the Year and MVP. But I'm reading about him in spring training, and this manager that he had, Lou Piniella, was quoted as saying, I don't know about this skinny kid. He can't even, I look at the bat, he can't even hit, he hit like 150 in spring training, right?
Yeah,
You were like,
no, I'll tell you a funny story.
I can't hit.
He was hitting the ball to the left field all the time and slapping the ball by the third baseman. And I called the interpreter, and I said, look, do me a favor. Tell the teacher I want to see some bat speed. One time, let me see him pull the ball. That's all I want to see, just one time. They talked and huddled and laughed a little bit. 2 innings later, he leads off the inning, he gets a fastball, he hits it over the right center field wall, goes around the bases, steps on home plate, comes to me, and he says, happy now? I'm done with it.
Dude was in another league, bro.
260 hits.
Wow.
And let me tell you the biggest thing he did for me. Except, I mean, helped me win baseball games, obviously. Let me tell you what, he's the oldest Rookie of the Year ever. Prior to that, in the American League, I had that on it. No, I didn't want that on it. He took that one away from me.
Something special.
Folks, we've got about 3 minutes left. Chantel, go ahead.
Well, maybe ask the last question if I would like to say a couple of things. But
Sure.
Go ahead.
they're more interesting than I am, actually. But we're so grateful to Lou and to Orestes and to Jason. We've been building this museum for a while, and we've just put in these first 2 exhibits that you were one of the first to see. But as we look around the room, all of you have helped us today to get the next exhibits. By being here, by participating in our events, by buying tickets and raffle tickets and being donors or buying a breaker or a paver, every single thing has helped us to get where we are today, and especially you 3 who have been our good friends from day 1.
Thank you.
Lou gave us the very first artifacts, and Lou was looking for them. So I'm going to tell you where they're going to be, Lou. We haven't built the cabinet yet, but it's going to be right here.
Nice, thank you.
So, we got the first artifact from Lou, and several things. You gave us a glove with a hole in it. You gave us a bat with all the Yankees.
Right.
You gave us a ball with all the Yankees and your favorite book. So you will get to see those kinds of things in the museum when they're done for us. And Wednesday, we had this year's Rookie of the Year, or last year's Rookie of the Year.
Wonderful player.
Yeah, Mr. Alonso.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso came and he presented us with his game-worn cleats. So we have some of the early things in the museum, and now we are a living history, because now we have the latest artifact that's been somebody explained today. He was going to be here, he wanted to be here, but he had to report to his team, to the Mets. So again, every single one of you has helped us get that much farther today. And I thank you for being here. I enjoyed what they were saying. I know you did. And so please enjoy the rest of the afternoon. We've got more activities in the park, and keep in touch with us.